Hey, it's John Grube, OnManTraining.com. We all heard the term, or at least I have, and I'm going to be 56 in February, the term old man strength. The term farmer strength, country boy strength, manual labor, blue collar strength. And there's a reason for that. And I've seen this many times over my years in the blue collar industry where a young guy who lifts weights will get in a wrestle match or some kind of competition with an older man who never lifts weights and just fucking has his way with him. I couldn't tell you how many times I've shaken the hands of 70, 80-year-old farmers and their grips are like vices still, and they're still working. I mean, strong fucking grips for 80-year-old men, and I can tell you right now, they're not fucking using hand grippers. There's people that talk about time under tension and muscle under tension type things, and they talk about load, how much load. Well, I can tell you that in a manual labor blue collar environment, it's a bunch of different loads, different times. Sometimes you're lifting heavier, sometimes you're lifting moderate, sometimes you're lifting lighter. It depends. It's just constant movements, constant exercise, just constant daily building body and mental toughness through just activity, out in the cold, out in the fucking heat, out in the rain, out in the snow. It doesn't matter. And the climate has a lot to do with your strength, physical and mental. Most people want to train in climate-controlled environments. I think you get weaker doing that. Years ago when I was when I took karate as a kid and all that stuff, I know we never had any air conditioning. And I'm not sure, I think there was heater, but there was no air conditioning. It was just, sometimes there was a fan running, he opened up the doors, and that was how we trained. Now, I do know, for instance, me coming from the trucking industry and having to load and unload trucks and use pallet jacks and whatever else you could use, your body to unload stuff, carry stuff on your shoulder, dragging, pulling, pushing, whatever. Furniture movers back in the day. My dad was one, and I do know because I've moved a lot of furniture in my time. Now, when my dad, and even when I was moving furniture was made out of real wood, real heavy wood. TVs were fucking big wood consoles. 19-inch TVs were fucking heavy. They had the big backs on them. They were hard to grab. 13-inch TVs, still the same thing. Not like today's flat screen TVs. Anything you carried in the past was fucking heavier. Heavier, bigger, and bulkier, which required more strength and more muscle and more conditioning to get the shit from point A to point B. Okay? It's like when you're going up and down the steps, one guy's got a dresser, he's got the shit fucking on him, the other guy going down is bent the fuck over. Two different fucking situations, tough on both ends. Okay? Because if the guy at the top drops the fucking one on the bottom, that guy better be there to be able to catch it and stop it and not get ran over. Refrigerators were fucking heavy as shit. And I know my dad, because I've seen him do it, they had straps. Not like today, they just strap around this the refrigerator, strap it to their backs, and then lift. And that's how they got it up and down the fucking steps. That was it. Okay? It wasn't usually two guys doing it. It was one fucking guy up and down the steps. I've seen my dad do this more than one occasion. Also, trucks didn't used to have power steering. A tractor trailer, a twin screw 18-wheeler, them things, if they weren't moving very fast, they didn't turn real easy. Okay? And even when they were able to turn on you had a nice speed, it was still a whole lot of, you had to have a fucking strong grip. And you couldn't turn from inside, okay? You couldn't turn from the inside because if the wheel got let loose, the fucking wheel would come back and hit you in the fucking wrist. Then you'd be in trouble because, let me tell you, it was a fucking loaded spring. So you turn that thing like this every fucking day. Every day you had to grip hard, pull, grip hard and turn, grip hard and turn. It was none of this. No, none of this. It was, and if it was like fucking isometric, pulling your fucking chest together and turning that motherfucker. And you were tight the whole time. You do that hundreds and hundreds of times a day. Over years and years and years. That's how you fucking built strength. So when you talk about old man strength, farmer strength, man, a lot of that strength was isometrics. A lot of that stuff was fucking light, progressive, heavy, moderate, but it was constant all day long. Constant all day long. And you'll never run into a blue-collar guy who's worked that way his entire life, that's not going to have a great, strong grip. And that's one of the factors that they tell you today is research is done is how long you're going to live, and one of those is how strong your grip is. And it's not like they said from hand gripping. So, like it or not, man, the power of old man strength, farmer strength, country boy strength, manual labor, blue collar worker strength, it's from fucking constant work. Okay, you're not going to get it in the gym. It just isn't going to fucking happen. You get strong in the gym, and I know a lot of people like to bring up the strong men and this and that. That's because this is what we've been pushed to, and the gym since the 80s. Gym wasn't a big thing until the 80s, and I was part of that, okay? So all you people out there now that watch your influencers and watch them walking around with their shirts off and things like that, and you're like, oh, you're jacked and shit like that, that's kind of fucking gay, guys. But like I said, man, the 80s, I was in that time. It was a different time. We actually lifted for strength and lifted for fucking sports, and we lifted for, regular every day outside the fucking gym activity. I never ever thought it was going to happen inside the gym. I always thought about what was happening outside the gym. Okay? It was a good time. I enjoyed it, but I'm going to tell you right now, man, the outdoor strength, the blue collar strength, the old man strength, I like that strength. You listen to MMA fighters or somebody like a fighter like Brock Lesnar who grew up on a farm. These guys always talk about their farm life. They always talk about working hard on the farm. Number one, it built their foundation. Number two, they talk about it with pride because they know how fucking hard it is to do. Again, go into the gym, that's fine, but don't act like that's the only way to reach your goals later.